This is the Easy Exit electric push button door release, the premium kit. This is premium because in addition to the door opener, it also has two LED lights right here, which are mounted on the plate that covers the existent mechanical latch that you'll remove from the door, and a second light and a second switch which you can locate any place you want in the van. The wires are to connect the door release to power. They're 10 gauge wires, and the other wires are to connect the three-way switches for the LED lights. The other pieces of this, these are all end pieces. These are terminals for the three-way switches. These are wire connectors. The four little prongs right there are actually pop rivets. They connect the Easy Exit to the van itself, and this is a plate to hold the second three-way switch wherever you want to locate it in the van. And this is the push button, it's the electric push button itself which operates the door release.
This is a 2019 Sprinter rear door panel. For the sake of the example, different Sprinters have different plastic coverings, but underneath the coverings are all the same. To remove the plastic cover, use either a plastic trim tool or a flat-headed screwdriver and just give it a good pop, and the plastic panel will come off. The next step is to remove the door latch. To do that, there is a tab at the top of the door latch which you can stick your finger in and pull it towards you, and then push the latch to the left, and it should pop right out. The next step is to go into the C-pillar on the van and disconnect the two quick release plugs that are in that pillar. Then you reach in with your hand, and there are two little plastic tabs at the top of the connector, and you have to push those in and then push the connector out, and then you'll be able to pull it right out from the frame. Now we're going to take the 5 wires in the kit. There's two 10 gauge wires and 3 16 gauge wires, and we're going to bring them all together and then tape them with black electrician's tape with the intention of feeding them through this perforated tube. And this will connect the wires, get the wires inside the van. Most of the way, the wires should fish through fairly easily, just pushing slowly and trying to keep the perforated tube as straight as possible. Next, we take the long end of the 5 wires and we fish them through the hole where the perforated cable goes. We fish them through, and then we reconnect the 2 quick connects that we disconnected earlier. And then we literally just take the plastic at the end of the perforated cable and click it into the hole, and you're done. Next, we're going to attach the Easy Exit bracket and motor to the van. First step is to attach the motor to the bracket with the screws supplied. Make sure that they're tight, and make sure that the motor, which has a screw tab on it, the tab faces out towards you. Next, we're going to attach the bracket and motor to the van, paying particular attention once again to the positive lead on the motor facing out so you can attach a positive wire to it. Now we're going to connect the bracket to the van. We're going to position the bracket and the motor, making sure that the motor sticks far enough into the cavity so that you have access to the screw on the motor to attach the positive lead. Once you've got it in the right position, just take a marking pen and mark either the 4 holes or the 2 front holes. Next we're going to take the 2 wires off of the mechanical latch, and it's simple. You just lift up Same with this one. And we're done. Then we're going to take this off. Next, we drill the holes to mount the bracket. I use pop rivets, but if you don't have a pop rivet gun, you certainly can just drill a little bigger hole and put a bolt in there. You only need 2 pop rivets or 2 bolts to hold the bracket firmly on the van. Next, we're going to put a terminal on the 10-gauge red wire, and we're going to attach it and crimp it, and then we're going to attach it to the positive terminal on the motor. It is the only screw on the motor. Next, we're going to attach the black 10-gauge ground wire, putting a terminal on it, and then attaching it to the bracket at the screw that is on the bracket. Next, we're going to take the Mercedes door latch out of the van. You take it, you remove the 3 Torx head screws from the back of the door. You take the plastic lock unit, you push down and you pull it towards you. The lower cable is going to get removed because it is no longer necessary. The upper cable also has to be removed because we're going to cut the housing over the cable, and we don't want to cut the cable itself when we're cutting the housing. Once you've put the locking mechanism back in the van, take the sheathing and make sure that it's essentially straight to the slotted portion of the bracket, and mark that. Once you've marked it, take the locking mechanism again out and take the whole cable out of the locking mechanism. The reason for this is that we are going to cut the sheath over the cable, and we do not, when we're cutting the sheath, want to cut the cable itself. So we remove the cable, and we cut the head off the cable, the end that does not go into the locking mechanism, and then we pull the cable out, and then we cut the sheath. Next, we're going to fish the cable back through the sheath and attach the cable to the locking mechanism. There are 2 holes in the locking mechanism. You want the rear back hole to slip the cable into, and then you pop the sheath into the upper slot on the mechanism, and then push the whole mechanism down and back to where it goes normally. Once you get it back there, my recommendation is just to put 1 of the Torx screws in to hold it in place. Don't put 3 in yet, just in case you have to readjust the sheath length. Next, we're going to fish the wire through the tab on the arm of the motor and then fish it through the other side of the double sleeve. Then we're going to push the ferrule and the sheath down into the slotted bracket, and then the next one, which is important, is you want to tighten up the wire so that there is no slack in it. The arm of the motor should be pulled all the way out toward the back of the door. It should not be recessed into the motor at all. You may find that it's easier to take a pair of pliers to get that, but it's very important that you make that completely tight. If you don't have it tight enough, it's not going to pull the latch on the door back far enough. Next, we're going to put the light and the switch in the cover plate, and we're going to put the cover plate on the van. The light unscrews, the front unscrews from the thing, slip it through the hole, and then retighten it on the back, and the switch itself just pushes through the hole. Next, we're going to connect the two red 16 gauge traveler wires to the three-way switch. Those wires go on the outside ports of the switch. Then we're going to take a 16 gauge black pigtail that's in the kit. We're going to attach that to the center port on the three-way switch, and the other end of that pigtail we're going to attach a 3-port Wago connector. We're then going to take the black wire that accompanies the two traveler wires, and we're going to connect that to the 3-port Wago, and we're then going to take the positive side of the LED light and connect that to the 3-port Wago. Then we're going to take another pigtail, which is included. We're going to ground that to the bracket. We're going to put a 2-port Wago on the end of that, and we're going to connect the negative side of the LED to the other port in the Wago switch. Next, you take the face plate, you put it over the hole where the mechanical latch was, you mark the holes where you're going to drill, and you drill it, and then you put in the included stainless steel screws, and you're done. Now we connect a 10 gauge wire that goes directly from the battery to the push button activator. On the other side, we connect the red 10 gauge wire that comes from the motor to the push button release. Now test your work. Push the button. If you've done it correctly, you'll hear a large click. We recommend placing the button above the level of the bed so that you have easy exit. Last step. The second LED light needs to be powered either directly from the battery or from the positive side of the push button switch. The negative side of the LED needs to be grounded either to the negative side of your battery or to any other negative point in your system. That completes the installation. To test the system, now flick either one of the easy 3-way switches. Both lights should come on. Hit the other switch and the lights should go off. Hit the other switch and the lights should go on. If it helps you, go to the website. There is a wiring diagram of the entire installation. Thanks again.